High in the Andes, a bridge hangs from the clouds. It is woven not from steel, but from grass. How could simple blades of grass support the weight of an empire? The chronicler begins to unroll his scroll. His illuminated manuscript depicts figures walking across the chasm, defying gravity on a thread of woven gold. He traces the lines with a single finger, feeling the impossible question rise. Every fiber held a secret. The river roars hundreds of feet below. One slip, one broken strand would mean certain doom. Yet for centuries, these were the highways of the Andes, the veins of a civilization carved into mountains. They didn't have iron. They didn't have modern tools. So what was their source of strength? He looks closer at the scroll's margin notes, searching for the first clue in this impossible design. The drawings didn't just show bridges. They showed a people completely isolated by the terrain without them. He saw illustrations of crops failing in one valley, while another enjoyed a surplus, unable to share. Their world was a collection of islands, separated not by water, but by air. An empire in pieces. The paradox was clear. To unite, they had to conquer the sky itself. But how? This was never about conquest. It was about connection. It was about survival. The great gamble was this: weave a path or watch their civilization wither, valley by isolated valley. The reward was immense: a unified empire, the flow of food, knowledge, and people across chasms. The risk was absolute. A single failed bridge could cut off a community, leading to starvation. He imagined the architects, the weavers. Their calculations had to be perfect. There was no room for error. Their only resource grew from the earth itself, a special kind of tough, fibrous mountain grass. The scroll showed entire communities gathering this resource, a sacred harvest timed by the sun and stars. This wasn't just construction, it was a ritual, a promise renewed between the people and the mountains. He realized the bridge wasn't built by a few engineers. It was woven by everyone. The strength of the bridge wasn't in the grass alone, it was in the strength of their community. But the grass was still just grass. How did they transform it into something that could defy a canyon? He felt a new urgency in his search. The answer had to be in the technique, the process. The stakes were now personal to him. He had to understand this bond between people and engineering. He saw the Chasquis, the Inca messengers who ran these bridges. Their lives depended on the weaver's skill. So much trust placed in a handful of grass and the hands that wove it together. The why was now clear. He turned the page, ready to discover the how. The unraveling begins. The first step was revealed in a drawing of villagers soaking the harvested grass in water. This made the fibers pliable. But the true magic happened next, with a simple twisting motion. One cord is weak, but two cords twisted together become exponentially stronger. He saw families sitting in circles, twisting these small cords, each one a building block of the whole. Then these smaller ropes were gathered. The next illustration showed men weaving them into thicker ropes, and those ropes were woven again and again until a mighty cable was formed, thick as a man. He understood. The bridge's strength came from this layered, collective effort. Thousands of strands, one purpose. Every single fiber was critical. A community's trust was woven directly into the bridge's very structure. But this raised another question. How did they get that first impossibly heavy cable across the abyss? He searched the scroll again, flipping past the large drawings to the smaller notes in the margins. There it was. A small detail showing a kite, or perhaps an arrow, carrying a thin thread. This first thread was a guide. It was used to pull a slightly stronger rope across, and that rope pulled a stronger one. A chain of connections, starting with a single fragile thread. Finally, hundreds of villagers on the other side could haul the main cable into its final position. The chronicler could almost feel the strain, the chanting, the collective heave of a community building its lifeline. Once the two main cables were anchored, the most dangerous work began: weaving the floor. He watched the scroll's figures, masters of balance, lashing slats and weaving the walkway high above the river. The side ropes were added last, forming handrails. The bridge was not just a path, it was a cradle. He looked at the finished drawing. Every knot, every weave was a testament to shared knowledge, passed down generations. But the grass would not last forever. This led him to the most surprising discovery of all. The bridges were not built to be permanent. They were designed to be reborn year after year. This wasn't a failure of engineering. It was the heart of the tradition. An annual festival of renewal. The chronicler realized the bridge wasn't the point. The weaving was the point. The coming together. He saw how the master weavers would pass their knowledge to the young, ensuring the skill was never lost. The cycle of decay and rebirth mirrored the seasons. It connected the community to the rhythm of the earth. He finally understood the phrase from his scroll: "The bridge lives because we give it life." The engineering was not just about physics and materials. It was social engineering of the highest order. It reinforced identity, shared purpose, and a deep reliance on one another for their collective survival. He wondered about the chief architect, the Chakakamayuk, or bridge master, who orchestrated this grand event. This person held the memory of the bridge. They knew the exact number of chords, the proper tension. It was a fragile knowledge, passed from master to apprentice, as fragile as the first thread flown across. If that chain of knowledge ever broke, the bridge and the community's bond would vanish. He saw the whole system now, not just a structure, but a living, breathing piece of cultural technology. The map was fully unraveled. Every step of the impossible puzzle had found its place in the story. He considered the sheer amount of work, the thousands of hours of labor, all for a temporary path. And yet, they did it gladly. The festival was a celebration, not a chore. The purpose was clear. The bridge was more than infrastructure. It was the physical manifestation of their social contract with each other. He had solved the engineering mystery, but uncovered a much deeper story about human connection and resilience. His journey through the scroll was nearing its end. But one final question lingered in the firelight. Does any of this incredible tradition still exist today? Or is it all just a memory on parchment? The scroll reveals its final secret. In one remote corner of Peru, the tradition holds. He shows the Quechua, the last authentic Inca rope bridge, rebuilt by hand every single year. The grand design is not lost. It lives in the hands and hearts of the descendants of its first weavers. They are not rebuilding a relic. They are renewing their bond with their past and each other. The finished bridge stands for 3 days of celebration, a testament to what their community can achieve together. The conquest came, the empire fell, but this simple tradition, woven from grass, proved more durable because its foundation wasn't stone, but shared purpose, something that can be regrown and rewoven forever. Every stone may carry a story, but every blade of grass can carry a legacy if woven together. The impossible engineering of the Inca was not in the bridge itself. It was in the community. A lesson that echoes across the centuries, that our strongest connections are the ones we choose to build. This tradition teaches that what is broken can be remade, and that every year is a new beginning. The story is not over. Witness the festival for yourself. Explore the full tradition that refuses to break.